Likely location, an ordinary toy store in Sunnyvale, California.
This is a place in which they had lost, or reportedly had lost, 6 managers. So out of desperation, they called me and said, would you please come in because we think we have a ghost. It's a story of unrequited love, and not like some of the violence we see at other, let's say, ghost stories. It's sad, it's tragic.
It was the new frontier of California, barely tamed by farms and orchards. The year was 1881, the season, spring. Yanni Janssen was a barely literate, emotionally disturbed farmhand who lived for just one thing, his desperate love for his employer's daughter.
Elizabeth.
Yanni, you have to stop writing me these letters.
I don't mean to upset you.
You have. And if I told my father, he would ask you to leave.
But I love you.
And I love someone else.
I know I'm just a caretaker. I don't have very much to offer, but what riches I do have are in my heart.
I don't love you, Yanni. You have to understand that. I don't mean to hurt you, but I'm getting married in 6 days, and it's best that you forget about me. Bye.
Wait, you don't know me. You barely knew I existed till I wrote those letters. How do you know you don't love me?
I feel nothing for you.
I won't rest until you marry me. Elizabeth, don't go!
Time passes, as time will. What was once an orchard became a busy toy store, filled with the sounds of laughter, the hum of cash registers, and the presence of something else. Something that cannot easily be put into words.
Elizabeth.
Hello? Is anybody there?
Elizabeth.
Hello? Who's there?
Cold.
Whoa, hold on. Where's the fire?
There's something back there.
Where?
In the storeroom. It touched me, and it said something.
Oh, what touched you?
Excuse me, are you the manager?
Yes.
There's something wrong with your bathroom. The water comes on by itself. I turned the faucet off, but it came back on again. I think you need a plumber.
Oh, I'll call one right away. Thank you.
May I please have the rest of the day off?
Oh, whatever it is that scared you back there, I'm sure there's a logical explanation for it. Come on, I'll show you. Oh, it's only the storeroom. Nothing to be afraid of. Okay, guys, we got a little problem.
So I am putting the storeroom off limits for the next couple of days.
Rumor has it there's ghosts in the storeroom. Welcome to Ghosts R Us. Can I haunt you?
This is not a joke. And if you go around saying that there's a ghost, then we're liable to lose all of our customers. So until I can figure out exactly what this is, it's business as usual. Okay?
Stack them like that?
Oh.
Toys R Us.
Hi, it's me. Margie and I are at the school library. We're trying to figure this thing out. And we just found out some really interesting information. A long time ago, some people named Elizabeth and Martin Murphy lived here in Sunnyvale. They had this hired hand named Yanni Janssen, who was killed in an awful accident. The spooky part is that all this stuff happened exactly where the store is now.
We also found a lady we think can help us. She's a psychic researcher. Her name is Sylvia Brown. She works with the police and really knows this area. She specializes in these kinds of cases. She's supposed to be very professional. She may even know who the ghost is. We really think she can help us. What do you think?
I need her right away.
All right. We'll get in touch with her.
Uh-huh.
Exactly as a haunting.
It's spirits that don't know they're dead, or they resist going towards the light. Sometimes it's just unfinished business, or they just don't want to go. You see, in this case, Yanni Janssen is in a time warp, and he really believes that he's still part of this Martin Murphy ranch.
So how long will he be doing this for?
Months, years, maybe.
Well, how do I get rid of him?
With a silver bullet.
Well, really, we have to convince him that he's dead.
That night, Sylvia Brown tried to summon the spirit of Yanni Janssen.
Yanni, are you with us? Yanni, can you hear me? I can feel his presence now. It's getting stronger. He's coming towards us.
I can see him. He looks a lot like Casper.
He's coming around the corner now. Hello, Yanni. Come closer so we can see you. You're looking for someone. Her name is Beth. Elizabeth Murphy. Is this Martin Murphy's wife? No. This is his daughter. I'm sorry. No, she's not here. I I know you loved her. She's very beautiful. Yes, I know how you can find her. She's on the other side. She's gone towards the light. You have to go towards the light, Yanni. You have to go towards the light to find Beth. Yanni, go towards the light.
Thank you.
Hopefully he's gone.
Good job.
Good night. Good night, good job. Hey, drive safe now, okay? Is anybody here? Hello?
Yanni's appearance in the 1982 seance, as evidenced by this famous infrared photograph, was not his last haunting. In January of 1991, we revisited the Sunnyvale Toys R Us, where employees past and present gathered to talk about their experiences in the intervening years.
I heard my name being called. And, you know, I listened again, and I turned around, and I couldn't see who was calling me. And I said, wait a minute, she's not even working today. And I'd get back up, and I'd start fixing the overstock again, and I'd hear it again. And then I'd feel my hair being caressed. And it just, ugh.
And the one little teddy bear, instead of just falling down like it normally would, went out into an arch down to the floor. And I said to the manager, you say what? Did that frighten you? And he said, it sure did, Put. So now when I go into the stock room, I bless myself and I say, hi, Johan. It's only me doing a day's work.
And upstairs we heard footsteps, very loud footsteps, thump, 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 thump. And I looked around and counted 1, 2, 3, 4 to make sure we were all there. And we were all there. And I asked one of the employees, I said, let's go upstairs and check it out. He's all, no way, I'm staying right where I am.
I had gone in to use the restroom, was in one of the restroom stalls, heard the door open, heard the water turn on, kind of looked under, saw nobody in the restroom. The water turned off, the door opened, and I refused to use the restroom the rest of the 6 weeks I was here.
Someday, of course, he will leave. Maybe Beth will come for him, some loving entity will grab him. He'll go on to the white light, but until that time, he still walks up and down these halls looking for his lost love.
When we return, a ghost helps to solve the mystery of her own murder.
Great houses testify to lives of murder, betrayal, lust, and vengeance. In the southwest of Wales, a haunted medieval fortress houses the persistent ghosts of a beautiful, lovesick princess and an ugly, vicious animal. Carew Castle stands on a grassy mound above the tidal waters of the Carew River. For more than 9 centuries, it played an important part in Welsh history. Originally a military stronghold, it was modified over the years into an Elizabethan mansion. Now an elegant ruin, Carew appears empty, but eerie, inhuman cries are often heard at the castle. And the figure of a woman dressed in white continues to haunt Carew's dark corridors. The apparition of the lady in white was seen in the summer of 1996. A local scientist, Angela Ferguson, was researching the activities of a bat colony at the castle. As was her routine, the scientist settled down to spend a long night monitoring the movement of bats to and from their nests in the Great Hall. She had been working for several hours when she glimpsed a shape above her head. Through the half-light, she saw a white figure, a woman, walking silently towards a window high in the wall. It was as if the woman was floating in mid-air, gliding on a long-vanished floor. The figure then vanished through solid stone. Although shaken by the apparition, the scientist noted everything she witnessed. When local people heard the scientist's account of the otherworldly visitor, they knew the identity of the ghost. She was the lady in white, and her story belongs in the annals of Welsh history. Her name was Princess Nest, one of Wales's most vibrant characters. Nest first came to this castle as a young bride, but her restless ghost searches for a man who was not her husband. In the year 1100, Wales was still mainly ruled by Welsh princes. But the Normans, having invaded and conquered England, had also settled into many parts of Wales. The young Princess Nest was given in political marriage to an Anglo-Norman, Gerald of Windsor. Nest was a great prize, the daughter of a powerful Welsh prince. She was beautiful, charming, and intelligent. Indeed, she is thought to have been the mistress of the English King Henry I, and to have borne him a son. As part of her dowry, Nest brought her husband Gerald lands at Carew. The castle was built to be their new home. Nest was a dutiful wife, and during her marriage she bore Gerald 5 children. But love intervened and changed her fate. In 1109, an event occurred that shocked all Wales. Nest had a cousin, Owain, the son of a prince. Having not met since childhood, the two were brought together at a banquet. Owain was captivated by her charm and beauty, and she likewise enjoyed her cousin's company. By the end of the night, the handsome, impulsive Owain determined to take her for his own. Late one night, Owain entered the castle with several companions. To cause a diversion, they set fire to another part of the castle and crept up to the room where Gerald and Nest lay sleeping. Gerald and Nest heard the commotion and feared it was an attempt to kill Gerald. Nest helped her husband to escape. When Owain entered the room, he found Nest alone and carried her away. The Welsh were scandalized by the fate of the abducted princess. They thought she had certainly been violently kidnapped and raped. The country was thrown into turmoil. But history records the princess was a willing prisoner. During her 2 years with the young Owain, she bore him 2 children. Their initial attraction had turned to love. Gerald's honor had to be avenged. The wrath of barons, princes, and the king himself fell on the heads of Owain's clan, and in the bloody conflicts that followed, Owain's father was killed, and the hot-headed Owain himself fled to Ireland. Nest was returned to her husband and family. Gerald's wife once more, Nest resumed her life at Carew. But Gerald was tormented, humiliated by Owain's deeds, troubled by his own cowardly escape from the castle. Gerald felt he was the object of ridicule. He bided his time until he could settle the score with Owain. This period of history saw many battles, and an uprising in South Wales in 1116 brought Gerald and Owain together as unlikely comrades in arms. It seemed as if the 2 men would put their past behind them, but Gerald's resentment soon caused blood to spill. Observing that Owain had gone out riding alone, Gerald seized the moment. He quietly summoned a group of his men and slipped out of the camp. Alone and off guard, Owain suspected nothing when he saw a guard approaching and stopped, making himself an easy target. He was shot dead with an arrow. Gerald at long last had his revenge. Nest outlived her husband Gerald, and her children founded great dynasties. But Nest's true love was always her young cousin, the passionate Owain, who stole her away and shocked a kingdom. There is a theory that over time the intensity of an image slowly fades. A figure in a red dress dims to become a pinkish apparition, dwindling away to perhaps a sound only, a swish of fabric, and then no more than a presence, a sense of someone passing. Princess Nest lived at Carew 900 years ago, and yet her ghost is still recognizable. Local people believe she still looks out of a window at the castle, longing for her murdered lover. Is her love for Owain so strong that it has not faded after so many centuries?
impossible for a sizable population of 8-foot, 500-pound monsters to live among us on the edge of our industrialized society. Well, I was skeptical, but I was also tantalized by what I heard, so I decided to find out for myself whether Bigfoot was fact or fiction. I did this by going out to talk to the eyewitnesses, questioning scientists, by examining the footprints, by looking at and listening to all of the available evidence. What I found out, I will now show you. A body of evidence difficult to ignore. First, there's the fact that this phenomenon is nationwide. That each year, people of all kinds from many places report seeing the giant creature, describing it as being covered with hair, being half man, half ape, and as having an overwhelming stench. In the last decade alone, there have been over 300 reported sightings of Bigfoot in America. It's called by different names in different parts of the country, like Momo, or the Fouke monster, or the skunk ape, or Sasquatch, or the Noxie monster. But whatever they call it, the people who see it are all describing the same thing.
I felt something staring at me, or a feeling of being watched. And I turned around, and that's when I saw Bigfoot. I was terrified.
Well, I was in shock. The totally unexpected. And the only equation I could make on this thing is that it was a gorilla.
And we saw this hairy-looking animal crossing the road on its hind legs, and I can't tell you for sure what it was, but I believe it was Bigfoot.
In spite of such eyewitness testimony, there are scientists who say that creatures like Bigfoot do not exist, that such monsters dwell only in our minds, not in our forests. They point out that man has always been quick to believe in monsters, and that these beliefs are born out of the unknown and nurtured by the unexplained. But even these scientists agree that some monsters have had a basis in fact. For centuries, Western man had heard rumors about a legendary man-monster that roamed the jungles of darkest Africa. It wasn't until the late 19th century that science caught up with this legendary monster, calling it the gorilla. New legendary creatures are continually being found, like the Komodo dragon and the okapi, both discovered only in this century. The giant panda was not discovered by Western scientists until 1937. It is still rarely seen in its natural habitat, the bamboo jungles in the mountains of China. New species are, in fact, being discovered and classified each year. New mammals, reptiles, fish, birds, and thousands of new insects. People, too, are being discovered, like these Indians, the Tasadai, a Stone Age tribe living on the island of Mindanao in the Philippines. These primitive people lived on the edge of civilization, unknown and undiscovered by modern man until 1972. Closer to home is the story of Ishi, the dawn man of Redding, California. This sole surviving member of an otherwise extinct tribe of American Indians, the Yahi, lived in the forests nearby Sacramento without modern man's knowing it. When he emerged out of his Stone Age isolation in 1912, he was living proof that creatures like the Bigfoot could live among us without our knowledge. And if Bigfoot is a species of man or ape that has survived a past age, then the turtle is proof that it could exist. A survivor from the age of the dinosaur, like certain lizards, some such creatures have remained unchanged for almost 200 million years. The crocodile is another reptile that has survived the ages. More proof that creatures from the past are alive today. There are even survivors of past ages that were once thought to be extinct, like the coelacanth, a species of fish scientists believed extinct for 60 million years, but found alive in the waters off South Africa in 1938. And like the creatures that dwell in Loch Ness, a mysterious lake in the Highlands of Scotland. Here in these waters dwells a family of monsters that some scientists believe are survivors from the age of the dinosaurs. The Loch Ness Monster has been reported seen by thousands of people, by tourists, and by the villagers who live around the lake. And yet for years, the scientific establishment has denied the possibility of the monster's existence. Denied it even though its history goes back to the year 565, when a saintly monk first wrote about his encounter with the creature. Denied it even in the face of contemporary accounts, like that of the Reverend Father Brucey.
We were standing on the jetty by the boathouse, just on the left there, and looking across to the bay, we saw a sudden tremendous turmoil in the waters, and without being able to see anything, what was causing it. And suddenly we noticed this huge black head moving along 7 or 8 feet out of the water, very, very slowly, coming towards us in a diagonal direction. And then after about 15 seconds it went down, but we never saw any humps, but it was very exciting while it lasted.
A creature like the one Father Brucey saw was photographed in 1934 by a vacationing London surgeon, Robert K. Wilson. But scientists rejected that photograph as evidence, as they did this one, taken in 1951 by Lachlan Stewart, a photograph which shows the mysterious humps that undulate on the creature's back. This picture, taken in 1955 by Peter McNabb, was similarly rejected, even though it clearly shows the creature nearby a familiar landmark. There were at least 16 photographs of the Loch Ness Monster, and all of them were rejected as evidence by the scientific community. It wasn't until this man, Tim Dinsdale, took his motion picture film of the monster that some scientists began to take notice. It was in 1960. Dinsdale, an aeronautical engineer, took this film with his 16mm spring-wind camera using a 135mm telephoto lens. He submitted the film for analysis to the Joint Air Reconnaissance Intelligence Center at the British Defense Ministry. They enlarged the film, as shown here, subjecting it to intense scrutiny. Their conclusions? That the film is of a living object, that it's moving 10 miles per hour, and that it's 6 feet wide and 5 feet high. Dinsdale's film of the creature encouraged a new breed of monster hunters. Starting in 1962, the Loch Ness Phenomena Investigation Bureau brought a long-needed expertise into the search. They kept cameras pointed at all times on strategic parts of the lake. Their major achievement? This film, taken by Richard Rayner in June 1967. British Air Force scrutiny of this film led to the conclusion that, like the earlier Tim Dinsdale footage, this was a picture of a living object of some size. What Shirley Adams saw did not frighten her. She experienced, in her own words, an unusual pleasure at seeing a creature at peace with nature. She observed the hairy giant for several moments and considered it not in terms of fear, but in terms of wonder. Eyewitness testimony, however, has had little such effect on the scientific community.
Eyewitness reports are not reliable. People can think they see things. Their minds can play tricks on them.
But Dr. Tibbett, so many people have seen Bigfoot. Now, is it possible that they're all hallucinating?
Look, see this skull? Now that's hard evidence, something to test, to deal with. Bring me a bone or a skull or a carcass, and then maybe I'll believe in Bigfoot.
Look, hundreds of law-abiding, respectable people have testified that they've seen Bigfoot. They've signed affidavits to that effect. They've even subjected themselves to examination under hypnosis. And yet the scientific community completely disregards such testimony.
It's unreliable.
Well, isn't it possible that science doesn't know how to use oral evidence? I mean, how to evaluate it, let's say the way the law does. Now, isn't oral testimony the basis of our judicial system?
Well, I don't know. Science needs something concrete. Why, for instance, hasn't a hunter ever been able to find the remains of a dead Bigfoot in the forest? I mean, there have been so many people through the area where this thing supposedly has been seen.
To find out the answer, I talked to anthropologist Dr. Lawrence Bradley.
Well, in reality, very few bones are ever found anywhere in the forest. When an animal dies, it's immediately eaten by another animal. This is the disposal service of nature at work. I go up in the woods in Oregon and Washington all the time, and I've never seen the remains of bears or even mountain lions. And these animals are in abundance up there.
Well, Dr. Bradley, it's been suggested by some people that maybe the Bigfoot creatures bury their dead.
That's remotely possible. If Bigfoot is, as some of us think, a humanoid, a species of animal more man-like than beast.
But it is possible.
Yes, but it's a proposition completely rejected by my colleagues. But then my colleagues completely reject the possibility of Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, most scientists say, cannot exist. But Dan Malachny of Deer Lodge, Montana, disagrees.
I don't care what other people think. I saw Bigfoot 10 years ago. I was with 11 other Boy Scouts at the time. And we were camping 18 miles south of Butte in the Deer Lodge National Forest. We had walked in to the forest about 5 miles that day.
It's not over yet. We got another mile. John, did you get a new OA flap?
Not yet. I started another hour's service.
Oh, God, my boots are killing me.
You're not the only one, man. They went down in there and they found the cars smashed.
After setting up camp, Dan and his friends ate dinner and then sat around and talked, telling jokes until bedtime. The boys were all in their bedrolls and fast asleep by 11 o'clock. But whatever it was in the forest, Dan's friend was the first to sense it, the first to hear it. Dan and two other boys saw the giant monster.
It took us a couple hours to get back to sleep. And when we got up the next morning, we went up on the ridge where we saw the Bigfoot at. And when we got up there, we discovered a number of footprints, the biggest footprints I've ever seen. And they looked something like this.
Exhibit B, the footprints. Some 20 inches long, 8 inches wide. Footprints found impressed 2 inches deep into the earth, an inch and a half deeper than a normal man's. Satisfied with this evidence, some scientists are now trying to classify the Bigfoot creatures, declaring them to be perhaps a more evolved species of a fossilized ape, a more man-like Gigantopithecus. Yielding the land to the first intruder. Some accounts indicate that the Bigfoot creatures might live in family units. Albert Ostman's observations in 1924 show that the father performed certain patriarchal duties for his family. The young of the Bigfoot probably enjoy a longer childhood than do most creatures in the wild. They're dependent on their elders for food, for protection, and for instruction in how to deal with the wild animals in the forest and with man. They themselves are not predators. If they were, more would be known about them. For a giant creature that attacked and fed on cougars and goats and deer could not long escape the watchful eye and the ready rifle of the hunter. They're shy and wary creatures, apparently gentle toward both man and beast, creatures alive to the possibilities of the wilderness. They're elusive creatures, hard to catch a glimpse of. Creatures perhaps like man, still evolving into a higher order. There are some who believe that the Bigfoot creatures are man, primitive man, and as such are entitled to all the protection our society offers other men. One true story that illustrates Bigfoot's human likeness is that told about an Oregon high school teacher, William Lawrence. Lawrence was driving with his wife, Kathy, on a backcountry road in the spring of 1973.
A lot of good fishing around here, especially this time of year. See everything you want, you get. Son of a... You see that? I'll get my rifle and get a shot at this thing.
Familiar with firearms, had made up his mind to shoot, like so many others before him who have had Bigfoot in their rifle sights.
I can't. It looks human.
Unable to shoot, Lawrence later described Bigfoot as having the eyes of a thinking creature, not the eyes of a wild animal. Man or beast? What it is still unknown. Some believe that Bigfoot is a kind of ape, undiscovered by science, or a prehistoric species of ape thought to be extinct. Others speculate it might be the so-called missing link, or even early man. Whatever it is, the volume of evidence seems conclusive. Our Earth is host to such giant...
On a given night, when the moon is right and the imagination is at work, a lone person might see things that don't really exist, like ghosts, spirits, maybe UFOs. But when 7 grown men see the same thing, and they all swear after 18 years that what they saw was real, then you have to take notice. In the case of Travis Walton, every witness took a lie detector test, and the results spelled UFO.
Is your first name Travis?
Yes.
On November the 5th, 1975, in the forest area called Turkey Springs, did you see a large glowing object hovering in the air?
Yes.
While you were standing near this UFO-like object, do you believe you were struck by an energy force emitted from that large object?
Yes.
After regaining consciousness in a small, humid room, did you see non-human creatures with large dark eyes moving about the room?
Yes.
Did you conspire with your brother Dwayne or anyone, or act alone, to stage a hoax about your UFO abduction?
No.
It happened deep in the woods of the White Mountains of northeastern Arizona at 5:49 p.m. Travis Walton was 22 years old. He was with 6 other woodcutters returning to their hometown of Snowflake as twilight settled on the rugged woods where they'd worked all day. The crew supervisor, Mike Rogers, was at the wheel as they rounded a bend and came upon a clearing and the hovering light.
It was very clear, very vivid, and it was, 75 or 100 feet from the truck. I verified that later on with my own step-and-loft measurements.
Travis Walton has walked that same clearing 100 times since that afternoon 18 years ago. He still hasn't found an answer.
I had pretty bad nightmares for a long time, but I just had to cope with this thing and get on with my life.
The events surrounding that day are the subject of a new movie called Fire in the Sky, which opens here soon. But the question goes unanswered. No reported UFO encounter on Earth has ever fallen into the category of the Travis Walton case. His reported abduction by unknown beings was witnessed by all 6 of his co-workers, including Mike Rogers.
This brilliant flash of light just lit up the whole woods right there. It was almost blinded me. It did blind me temporarily, just for a few seconds. I turned back around and glanced back to my right, where I'd seen Travis standing, and he's flying back through the air. He was just like as if a grenade or explosion had gone off in front of him.
We all saw the thing. We all saw the guy get zapped.
All swore to the same story.
That's the truth, mister. That's exactly what happened. Is it?
All except one submitted to lie detector tests at the time and passed. Then this year, every single one of them took more sophisticated polygraph tests conducted by the same man. All, including Walton, passed.
Mr. Walton is telling the truth when he claims that this is not a hoax, that he went on board what he believed to be went on board a UFO and was later deposited on a road in Heber. His story is truthful in reference to the questions I asked.
The people of Snowflake can't explain what happened that evening, including the then sheriff, Marlon Gillespie.
My belief is that those individuals, those 6 individuals, seen something that they believed was a UFO.
Back in the truck!
When the blue light appeared above them that evening, Travis bolted from the passenger side door.
I felt kind of like an electric shock go through my body, and it kind of made me go numb.
and I blacked out.
Oh my God.
What's he doing out there? Get back to the truck. What the hell is
And I hit the gas, and these guys are simultaneously screaming at me to get the hell out of there, and I was gone.
They thought it had killed me, and they panicked.
As the truck sped off, Travis recalls an unworldly series of events.
I don't know how I got on board. All I know is that when I regained consciousness, that's where I was. I was in a lot of pain, just a tremendous amount of pain. I was lying on my back on a table, and there was a light above me. And, you know, I couldn't focus my eyes at first. I saw these creatures standing over me that I knew I wasn't in a hospital. And at that point, I just flipped out. I just became hysterical. Dimly lit. And it was very difficult to breathe in there. It seemed like the air was too warm and humid or something. It was very hard to catch my breath.
The creatures had examined him and taken fluid samples from his body. Some of the creatures were human-like.
I saw 4 of them all together, and 3 of them are the ones that rendered me unconscious. When I first saw this human-looking person, I thought I was being saved, that I was being rescued by people.
To this day, there are doubters who believe that 7 woodcutters pulled a fantastic hoax on the world at 5:49 p.m. on November the 5th, 1975, like Rich Robertson, who covered the story.
Most of the time, the people who see UFOs are people that were predisposed to believing in them to begin with. I guess UFOs have a way of picking out those particular people.
But others, like the sheriff who suspected them of murder, have changed their minds.
I believe that there's unanswered questions out there from outer space. I think that there's probably some occurrences happening that our government may be aware of that they're not telling us.
The 7 men involved don't see much of each other anymore. They hadn't talked about the incident for years, until the Hollywood movie was made. And the world began to ask the same questions all over again.
Well, we'll need paint.
So, are you guys moving in here?
I'm not a guy. And yes, we are.
Hello there, neighbor. Oh, hello. I'm Cora Miller from next door.
Oh, I'm Janet.
Welcome.
Thank you. This is my husband, Jack.
Oh, Cora Miller.
And his mom, Mary.
Hi.
His father, John. This is Cora.
Oh, welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you. And these are my kids. Katie, get down from there. The big one's Katie and the little one's Colleen.
Oh, they're adorable. So, are you going to fix the place up?
Oh, I don't think I could stay here if I didn't.
I hear you. We just rent, but I always have to fix things up.
Oh, we got to do something. I intend to stay here a long, long time. Hello there.
This is Janet. Janet, this is Dory Hayden.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I brought some brownies. I made them from the box. Consider yourself very lucky. I did not make them from scratch. What church do you go to?
We're Catholic.
Oh, great. Let me formally invite you to the church supper the first Tuesday of the month. What does your husband do?
Oh, he's the foreman down at the gum factory.
Dory? Oh, well, I thought he might want to join the Lions Club. Bud can get him in.
Oh, I'm sure we'd both like that. He was a lion back in Wilkes Barre, and I was a lioness. Oh, I've got to go.
Let's let them move in.
Can't wait to tell Bud about you. See you next Sunday.
If you need any help, just give me a yell.
Thank you, Cora. Bye.
You see? We're making friends already.
Daddy. Look, I've been helping Grandpa paint.
Well, you sure have, huh? That's my girl.
I'll come help you later.
Okay. I could use it. Janet, are you in there?
Yeah.
Did you take the hammer?
I thought you had it.
Well, I did, but then I put it down. Now I can't find it. I just can't imagine where it went.
Well, did you ask your dad?
No.
Oh, no.
Dad?
Huh?
Did you take the hammer?
Nope.
You sure?
I am. Unless I've gone senile and don't know it.
It's always a possibility.
How's school with you?
It's great.
I know. Hello, darlings. How are you? So nice to see you here. Hello, Janet.
I loved what you said about St. Francis.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Happy Sunday to you, my Father. Happy Sunday to you, too. And you.
Father, can I speak with you?
Janet, how are you?
I've been better.
I'm sorry to hear that. Can I be of any help?
Father, could you come to dinner Friday night?
Yes, I think I can make that. Can you give me some idea of the problem you're having?
It's the house problem.
A house problem.
Oh, superstitious, eh? Oh, like that kid. Gentlemen, you must
You know, marriage can be a very tough thing, very tough. And you all haven't had an easy time of it. Sometimes what we think of as ghosts or demons are really the demons in ourselves. Now tell me, have you two ever thought of marriage counseling?
Father, I really don't think this has...
I have a counseling group myself. We meet at the church every Wednesday night. It's very popular, but I think I can make room for you if you'd like.
Father, I saw it too. Father, please look around the house.
I will. But I want you to think very carefully about what I've just said here. Now, you do that for me while I take a walk around, will you?
Sure, Father.
Thank you, Father.
I'll go and say a blessing in every room, and if there is a presence in the house, that ought to get rid of it.
Thank you.
Bless this house and this room, and keep it safe from evil.
That was your house.
And of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
touching me. You poked me first.
Quiet, girls. Father, are you all right?
I'm not feeling well.
Well, can we get you anything?
It's better. No, nothing. Nothing, thank you.
So, what is it, Father? Can you help us?
I don't know. I don't know. But, if anything else happens here, please call me. Yeah, thank you, thank you. I'll do whatever I can.
Thank you, Father.
Mom, what was he doing here?
He came to bless the house, honey. It's something the church does. Isn't that nice?
I guess so.
You think it's over?
I think that spook got itself a room at the Holiday Inn.
You're not just saying that.
I'm not just saying that.
Oh, Jack.
When Sigmund Freud first introduced his theories about the importance of hypnosis, he was laughed at and ridiculed by his colleagues. Since then, hypnotherapy has gradually gained widespread acceptance. But now, a controversial new type of hypnotherapy is once again asking us to look at our lives in an astounding new way. It's the serious study of past life therapy. Even traditional doctors are starting to wonder if hypnotized patients can really recall that they have lived before in a different body.
I got involved at first with past life therapy as a seemingly spontaneous or accidental thing. I was chairman of psychiatry, very much academically trained and left-brained.
Dr. Brian Weiss is a respected psychiatrist and author of 2 books on past life therapy.
No medical organization has come out really and endorsed this. Oftentimes they'll come up to me and say, I've had this marvelous experience, or my patient has, but don't tell anyone. I get that a lot.
One startling new case has doctors and hypnotherapists re-examining their beliefs. It all started in the small town of Lake Elsinore, California. Here, under hypnosis, more than 30 people all recalled that they had lived and died together more than 100 years ago. Under the guidance of Marge Reeder, a hypnotherapist for 16 years, Maureen Williamson was the first to speak of this shared past life.
There was something, an incident that happened to me when I was real young, and I was interested in the details. It started initially with a name, and the name I had come up with was John Ashford.
She said, oh, he's my husband. Well, that was not her husband's name. And I said, well, where are we? Well, we're in Millboro.
In Marge Reeder's practice, it's not unusual for someone to recall a past life, but what happened next startled the hypnosis community.
So then she looked at me and she said, I saw Joe back there. And I said, Joe who? She says, Joe Nazarowski. He owned a security office down here on Main Street.
Joe Nazarowski came to see Marge Reeder and without prompting told stories that were strikingly similar.
During the Civil War time, I went to Millboro, and my primary function there was that in the event that the war were to go badly for the Confederacy, to blow up the tunnels so that they could not use those materials against our military.
Marge probed deeper with Maureen, and she recalled that even more people from Lake Elsinore could have had a history in Millboro, Virginia.
And then she said, I saw Millie back there. Barbara Roberts was sitting in the room, and Barbara wrote me a note and said, ask her if I'm there. And I said, is Barbara Roberts back there in Virginia? She says, yes, she's my mother-in-law. She's John's mother. And from there on out, it just snowballed.
Maureen, who was the first to speak of Millboro, brought her husband in to see Marge. Under hypnosis, he recalled that he had been Maureen's lover in Millboro.
Marge and I have found out under regressions is that I am still in love with a lady, and I always have been for 130 years.
The Civil War, for example, is a very popular period. A lot of people have been there. I have people finding their own grave sites. They find their names. They know their way around, and they've never been in that area before. So this is extremely possible, probable, and I applaud this research. This is the type of thing that more people should have the courage to do.
Marge Reeder has documented the first case of mass regression in her book, Mission to Millboro. As amazing as these stories are, skeptics argue that Marge was somehow influencing her patients unconsciously. So we decided to go on our own mission to Millboro for evidence of this shared past life. Our first step was to search for a boarding house, which almost everyone had spoken of under regression. And we found it.
My boarding house didn't have that much to do with the Civil War because I had the regular boarders, and I fed a lot of people, and I baked a lot of bread.
Under regression, nearly everyone recalled a graveyard where Maureen, as Becky Ashford, was buried. Just outside of town, we found a family plot.
I had been told by several people Becky's grave is about 1.5 miles outside of town. The graves are untended, the grass is high. Joe told me all along it's in an enclosure. There's a little iron gate fence, and that's just what we found.
Joe Nazarowski recalled that his name in 1861 was Charlie Patterson, a West Point graduate. A trip to the West Point archives uncovered this photograph taken in 1861. The cadet here is Charlie Patterson of Millboro, Virginia. Joe also recalled a tunnel that he was supposed to blow up during the Civil War. We found the tunnel, and even these holes where he could have placed dynamite charges.
So we're going to place the dynamite to make sure that if the Yankees came through, that it would take the tunnel out. They couldn't get the supplies.
Before their regression, none of the people in Lake Elsinore had been to Millboro, but it's possible that they could have seen pictures or heard stories about the area. However, one place we discovered was unknown to even lifetime residents of Millboro, totally unknown to everyone but one of Marge's clients. It was a secret room used to hide slaves. The room was supposedly hidden underground near a church. Marge pinpointed its location using old maps and began to dig.
We're in the middle of downtown Millboro. I have reason to think that there's an underground railroad hidden tunnel and room down here. And I heard about it just a few months ago from one of the newer girls in my Millboro study.
After hours of digging, Marge broke through and found the secret room.
You can see the room very clearly. You can see the green walls, green concrete walls as they were described to me.
The plank ceiling, sod floor, and Civil War-era paraphernalia provided further evidence that this room may have been the secret room revealed under regression. This discovery is an important step forward in the search for proof that the mass regression is more than just the power of suggestion or coincidence.
In my practice as a psychiatrist, doing past life regression work, I focus primarily on therapy, on healing. The other level, which Marge is doing, is extremely important also. It's proof that this is real.
Thanks for joining us. For Sightings, I'm Tim White. Good night.
The ghosts of England are not restricted to drafty castles and lonely country estates. In the very heart of London, a 17th century cavalier, replete with plumed hat and pantaloons, resides in, of all places, a wine cellar. In some form, a tavern has operated here for at least 3 centuries. Currently, it is called the George Inn. Bill Grundy is a documentary filmmaker for the British Broadcasting Corporation.
It was the summer of 1975. I'd just finished making a series of television films about the ghosts of London. And I came in here for a drink, and the landlord came over to me, and he said, like the films, pity you didn't do our ghost. I said, you got one here in the George Inn? He said, yes, we have. I said, do you believe in ghosts? He said, no, but my wife does. I asked him to explain. He said, well, we've been here for years, and there'd been no trouble at all. But one day, between 10 and 11 in the morning, anyway, before we opened, he said, my wife went downstairs into the cellar, and she came rushing back up, all white and trembling, and said, I'm never going in the cellar again. She said, it's the fellow down there. I said, we're not open yet. There can't be a man down there. And she said, no, this isn't an ordinary fella. He's dressed like a cavalier, and he's standing in the corner of the barrel vaulting there. My wife still doesn't go down that cellar.
Grundy contacted Francis Hitching, an author and investigator of strange phenomena. Hitching placed a camera and a videotape recorder in the supposedly haunted cellar.
I've been investigating ghosts and other related phenomena for a number of years now, and this sounds to me a particularly good and typical example of a ghost. That's to say, we're here in a very old building, one of the oldest basements in London, certainly part of the old London. Up there is the street itself, and I dare say you can hear some noises which come across it from time to time. And the stories that we've heard, the two people, the witnesses, talking about somebody in Stuart costume, this is typical of the kind of appearance that you get. Somebody in costume appearing in an old building, sometimes at the same time, sometimes not. And I feel that it's one that's worth investigating with modern equipment.
Hitching sealed the doors from the inside and remained alone in the cellar throughout the night. He focused his camera on a dark pillar in the middle of the room.
Much to my surprise, we have found something. I'd like you to have a look at it. It's a very surprising image which is coming on the screen in just a few moments. Now, I was here at the time that this was taken, and I saw nothing myself. I think I was looking at the pillar at the time that it was there, but look, coming up on the screen is a most extraordinary something. What is it, a light? It may be, if it's a ghost, is that what a ghost looks like? As I say, I think I was looking at the pillar at the time, but there it is emerging on there. Nobody else was here, and it's not an earthly thing. It's nothing that could be created with a torch. It's got curious images which goes up like that. I think it's one of the most remarkable ghostly manifestations that's happened in my experience looking for them. Whether or not it's something that can be the same ghost that's gone away now, whether or not it's the same ghost as they saw, whether it's one of these manifestations that happen sometimes when people go out trying to look for things, and instead of specifically what they're looking for, some other thing appears out of the fabric of the building, I just don't know. Until today, my theory was that under conditions of extreme emotion, that's to say great pain, great anguish, even great happiness, that somehow this emotion imprinted itself in the solid fabric of buildings, and people were able to recognize it, and it came out in the same way that clairvoyants and psychometrists, dowsers, can pick hold of a solid object and tell you a lot of things about the people who were last there. That's until today. But today I've seen this thing, and I can pick hold of a solid object and tell you a lot of things about the people who were last there. That's until today. But today I've seen this thing, and I can't explain it. And so my explanation yesterday has been torn away. What I believe tomorrow, I just don't know. I'll have to look at that again and again, and perhaps one day I'll find out.
What are ghosts? And why do they keep repeating the same actions over and over again? One theory is that a haunting is a violent release of energy, somehow frozen in space and time. When weather conditions are exactly right, the action is played back, like a recording. Impossible? So were Xeroxing and holography just a few short years ago. In fact, so were videotape replays, like the one you're watching right now. People have been seeing and hearing ghosts for thousands of years. Soon, we may know how and why. What a tremendous gain that would be for science, and what a tremendous loss for storytelling.
you man. You asked me how I spent the day.
Hey, wake up. Hey, wake up. Hey, you. Wake up. This is my first haunting, so I'm just going to go ahead, okay? Okay. Ooh, ooh. Rip, 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 rattle, rattle, rattle. Ooh. Boo. You get a 9.
Ghosts. Many parapsychologists believe that they're collections of electrical energy, and conventional scientists agree electromagnetism is all around us. But paranormal researchers take it one extraordinary step further. They believe electromagnetism has a personality, that it can be the outward manifestation of a tortured soul in limbo. On July 28, 1974, Larry Richard Roach, an unemployed electrician, ended his own life with one rifle blast to the chest. Before his suicide, Larry Roach had been severely injured on the job. Electric shock had left him physically and mentally disabled. He had seizures, was emotionally unstable, and when his wife left him, Larry Roach became despondent and took his own life. Today, near Dallas, Texas, in this quiet neighborhood, a new family lives in the house where Larry Roach committed suicide. It was supposed to be the Lamonis family's dream house. They finally had a backyard for the children and plenty of room. But their happiness has been short-lived. They believe something is trying to force them out.
3 weeks after we moved in, strange things started to happen.
I had walked from the dining room into the kitchen, and about then, something got a hold of my hair and lifted me up, and I started hollering, "Pam, Pam, help me." And she turned around and looked, and she said I was just like a haze all over me, like a glow, like I had lit up.
Most of the disturbances in the house seemed to be related to strange electrical energy that had an almost human form. It affected appliances, the telephone, the lights. The phone answering machine played back messages spontaneously.
You've reached 642. You've reached 642.
Then a frightening apparition appeared in the kitchen.
All at once I just felt like something was in the kitchen. I just felt like something was staring at me. And I turned around and I looked and I seen laying on the floor like a whole figure of a man's body. I was terrified. So I got up, and when I did, it just vanished away like it went up into the air in smoke, up into the kitchen light.
And the terror only worsened.
It started getting worse and worse in the house. It got to where I was scared to stay here.
Late at night, eerie footsteps would echo throughout the house. The apparition paced outside the bedroom doors. Then the activity in the house took a sinister turn. Did the apparition want the family dead?
I came home one afternoon, and the gas stove had been turned on, and Joe was asleep on the sofa. I came in, smelled the gas at the front door, left the front door open because you could not even walk in, and it really scared me.
After this incident, Pam started to ask neighbors about the history of the house.
I told Pam something has happened in this kitchen. And she said, "Well, Mother, I think you're right." So she went to investigating with her neighbors, and they did explain to her that a man had committed suicide in the kitchen.
The Lamonases wondered if it was Larry Roach's angry, restless spirit that was tormenting their lives. Desperate to find out, Pam contacted psychics Dwana Paul and Carol Williams.
When Pam called me, she was very disturbed. Her voice was shaking. She said, "I have someone in my house, and it's a ghost."
I did feel cold spots in a few of the rooms, and as we were just sitting there in the living area, I started feeling the tingling sensation that I feel when a spirit is there.
Just before the 18th anniversary of the suicide, the psychics hold a seance they hope will drive Larry Roach's spirit from the house. Carol, Dwana, and other psychics joined together with the Lamonas family.
We've come here tonight to bring in the spirit of Larry from this house. And we're going to attempt to send Larry to the light. Understand that you committed suicide. You killed yourself.
Pull that trigger.
A rush of energy fills the room. Pam feels something touching her.
He wants to touch my ear. I don't know.
Larry, we know you're here. There's no reason for you to be in this house any longer. It's time for you to move into the other dimensions of light. You can no longer stay here. Move toward the light.
It was a good seance. I could feel it. I could feel it when the chairs was shaking and everything. I knew it was here, but it did not leave, and I don't think it's going to ever leave this house because it kept saying over and over in my mind, "This is my home, this is my home."
To see if a spirit could be inhabiting the home, a sightings camera operator stays at the house, alone.
Okay, there's an awful lot of static electricity in the air right now. Seems to be coming from that tool shed.
We found out later the tool shed was the last place Larry Roach was seen alive.
The dog's barking at something. There's nothing there. 3:30. I just felt something in the air around this area here, in this hall. The flashlight's going out. I don't understand because I just put batteries in it. The light in the kitchen's going on and off, but I'm not touching it. It's 5 a.m. right now. There's a weird smell. I don't know what it is. There's a lot of electricity in the air, more now than before. The The warning light and the camera's on. Why are the batteries dying?
Larry Roach seems to have made his presence felt, even to our crew member, and the Lamonises still fear the unearthly phenomena in their home. In the coming weeks, we'll return to Dallas for an update.
In the pattern.
Fort Lauderdale Tower, this is Palm Beach Tower. I think we have 4 of your birds landing here.
Palm Beach Tower, this is Fort Lauderdale Tower. They're all yours.
The flight is landing not at its designated destination, Fort Lauderdale, but 40 miles up the coast at Palm Beach. A strange navigational mistake. One compass could break down. One pilot could make a mistake. But 4 pilots and 4 compasses, hard to explain. Yet no damage was done. That very afternoon, however, another training mission. The 5 Avengers of Flight 19 would become part of one of the most curious events in the history of aviation. It happened in the Bermuda Triangle.
I'm worried about you. You're doing too much with all the carpools and the church flowers and the club meetings. You are running yourself ragged.
I am
now
fine.
You're going to have to
there
cut
is
something
nothing
out.
wrong with me.
Okay, I'm just saying that you should find some time to have a little bit of fun too, huh? You should. Now come on, let's get inside. Come on. I'm tired too, you know. What? What do you want?
Were you touching me just then?
No. Go back to sleep, hon.
Oh, no.
Oh, you got the good cop.
Oh, my newsletter for the Lionesses was due at the printer yesterday, not today.
You're screwed up. Is this all the cereal we've got?
Isn't it enough for you? I've done that.
I can't find a clean shirt.
The vitamins. Oh, my God. I forgot about the laundry.
What should I put on?
It's in the dryer. I'm sorry, Jack. I'll go get you.
Oh, take it easy. Take it easy. I'll do it. What's going on with you?
I'll get it. I'll get it.
Hello? Oh, hi, Joe. She's right here. Mom, you okay? Everything's fine.
Hello. Hi. Shut up.
Will do, Colleen. Is Sean dressed?
I don't know. Probably.
Are there any bananas left?
Sean!
Yuck, this is not that milk just because Colleen's on a diet.
Oh, shut up.
See you later.
Wait a second. What about breakfast?
No time.
Tape. I need tape.
It's right on the counter.
No, it's not. I need to fix my homework. I'll get an F.
Take it easy, Sean. I swear I put it right on the counter. It was there a couple of minutes ago. I just saw it. I swear it was right on the counter. Oh. Well, that's Annie. Ask your teacher for tape.
Mom.
Wait a second. Eat this on the way to school. Have a good day.
No, I don't know.
Bye, honey.
Bye, Mom.
Probably, yeah. I got a good too.
Bye. Okay, bye. Mom. 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 You know, I think you ought to get out of the house today. You're starting to look tense.
Maybe I will.
Bye.
Will you look at this headline? Mom grinds up family dog to feed her children.
Better than mom grinds up kids to feed family dog.
Look at this one. Alien makes hundreds of women pregnant.
Oh.
Things people believe. Janet, it's you.
You know, sometimes I think Herb looks like an alien.
It's fitting. What's with you today?
Cora, do I look crazy to you?
You? You're the sanest person I've ever known.
My husband doesn't think so.
Oh, that's nonsense. Jack would never think that.
What makes you think you're crazier than anyone else?
I'm having these nightmares, but they're really daymares. I see things, I hear things, I feel things that nobody else does. Has that ever happened to you?
No, I can't say that it has. But if it really worries you, maybe you should see a psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist? I'd rather be tortured by aliens.
I got a strike.
Don't everybody cheer at once.
Yay!
That's very good, Andy.
Dr. Smith, help! I'm afraid without you. Don't leave me alone.
Over here. It's me, Dr. Smith.
Watch this.
There is still danger.
Hey, Joe. Do you guys French kiss?
Colleen's bugging us.
What are you laughing about? You don't even know what French kissing is.
I do too.
What is it then?
I don't have to tell you if I don't want to. I know. It's kissing with your mouth open. That's disgusting.
That's enough.
Why, thanks, Mrs. Smurl. You know, it's been 2 weeks since that last button fell off. I've been cold for 2 weeks.
Now, you two will be home before midnight.
Yes, ma'am. Don't worry, I'm a great driver.
Mom, we're going to be late for the party.
Well, have fun, you two.
Au revoir. That's French.
Right.
Shut up, Colleen.
Did Katie come back early?
No, why?
Sounds like someone's taking a bath up there.
I don't hear anything.
Me neither. Ouch, not so tight.
Sorry.
You didn't hear that?
What, Mommy?
It's okay, I'm just gonna go take a look. I'll be right back.
Wait, Mom. Maybe you should wait till Dad gets home.
Just finish Sean's hair. There's nothing to worry about.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women. Blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and the hour of our death. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women. Blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother.
Ed? Yeah, this place was like a bunker last night, like there was a war going on here. When can you come back? I see. Well, we're just going to get out of here for a few days. Camping. Okay. Right. We will. Thanks. Bye-bye.
What did he say?
He said that there is a war going on here.
Who stole my golden arm? He moaned. Who stole my golden arm? He moaned. Where's my golden arm? It's here! It's not funny.
Bedtime, you two.
Oh, Mom, we're not tired. It's too early.
Well, it's not too early for us. What do you say, Pa? You ready for bed?
Almost. Katie's roasting me a special marshmallow.
He likes it golden brown on the outside and runny on the inside.
Yep.
Don't spoil him. He'll get used to it. Don't go to bed yet. I've got hot chocolate for everybody.
Us too?
You too. Hey, honey, you got some wood.
This is all I could find. It's really picked clean around here.
It was such a clear night. See the Big Dipper?
Oh, yeah.
Pot and the
Yeah, I
handle
can see
coming
it.
off of it.
You'd all bet that dog's got himself a raccoon.
Or that raccoon's got himself a dog.
Mom.
I called the police.
What in the world's going on in there? They were away on a camping trip.
Is that dog never gonna shut up? It's gonna keep us awake all night.
Mom, you want a refill?
No, I'm fine.
Sean, here's your drink it. Sean, what is it? What do you see?
Jack!
Come on, Sean.
Away, dog.
Easy, it's all right.
Dad, let's get out of here! No, Jack! You don't know what it'll do to you!
What is that?
I don't want to go home. Maybe we can never get away from it.
Take it easy there, kid. We'll be all right as long as we're all together.
The church, we've got to get them to listen to us.
I'm gonna call the Warrens again.
Daddy, what's wrong?
I don't know.
Everyone heard it. It sounded like somebody was being tortured to death.
We called the police. They came over, they checked the house out, and they said they didn't find anything wrong. I've never been so scared in my whole life. Oh, Janet.
I'm so glad you're home.
I wish I was.
Bud, it's me. They're all right. I'll be there as soon as I can. Bye. I've got to get home. Bud's having a problem with the kids. Look, if you want, I can get hold of the Sacred Heart League. They come to people's houses and pray for them.
We'll think about it. Thank you.
Janet, if I were you, I'd get help right away.
If I were you, I'd move.
If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to call us, okay?
What's going on here?
I don't know.
Jack?
We gotta get out of here, no matter what.
What's gonna stop it from following us no matter where we go?
Then we send the kids away. Aaron and Sean can stay at Aunt Lily's for a while. Why
No.
not? Colleen and Katie can stay with their friends.
The Warrens told us to stick together.
I don't care what the Warrens said. I want my kids safe. I'm not going to stand by and watch them go through this anymore, Jack.
Come on, you guys. It's time to go. Okay.
Bye, Mom.
Oh, you be good. No ice cream for breakfast, okay?
Okay, be cool, Mom.
I will. Thanks so much, Aunt Lily.
Oh, you're welcome, and don't worry about a thing.
You give us a call later on?
I will, and we'll have fun.
I'm sitting in the front.
Listen, Ed, we've had enough of this. Now, what would happen if we leveled this place, if we just tore it right down to the ground? It'd mean that we'd lose everything that we put into it, but...
I wouldn't do that.
Why?
Jack, that's exactly the kind of defeat the demon is going for. You understand that, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Your only option is to try and get your church to come and perform an exorcism.
Ed, the church won't even return our calls. But I've had an idea. What if we took our story to the press? Maybe we could shame the church into helping us.
Going to the press has risks. They could easily turn against you. One day you're a hero, the next day you're a liar. Now you've got to explore every other channel before you go to such an extreme, Jack.
Well, I just don't know how much more of this we can take.
We felt relieved that our kids were out of danger. But Jack and I also needed some peace. We felt safer downstairs.
look at it. Hello? Hold on, honey. I can't understand you.
The priest really ought to come from your own region and your own faith.
But we've worked with this man a number of times. He used to be a Catholic, but he left the church over some policy disagreement.
He's what you'd call a bit of a renegade, but he'll do the best he can for you.
Wait, once this guy comes, that'll be it, right?
The demon will either go away, or...
Or what? Retaliate.
That's the risk you take with an exorcism.
Okay, we'll take the risk.
In the old days, exorcisms were performed by 3 priests, but it's difficult to find anyone to perform the ritual these days, so I'm going to need your help. Jack, were you ever an altar boy?
Yes, Father, I was.
Good. You can say the responses, and if you'll take that holy water. Now, if you and Janet will follow me. The rest of you can stay here. Dominus vobiscum.
Et cum spiritu tuo.
Deus in nomine tuo salva me fac, e virtute tua age causum meam. Deus audi orationem meam, auribus percipe verba oris me, nam superbi insurrexerent contra me, e violenti quaes ierent vitam meam, non propusuerent Deum ante oculos suos. Ecce Deus adjuvat me, Dominus sustentat vitam meam, retorque malum in adversarios meos, e pro fidelitate tua destrue illos. Voluntari sacrificabo tibi, celebrabo nomen tuum Domine, gloria bonum est, ex
Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God,
Pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Roses. I smell them too.
Yes, it happens every time. It's God's will.
Oh, Mama. Is it over now, Dad?
It's gonna be all right now. Father? What does it want with us?
It wants to kill you.
Why? Why us?
I think you were chosen. You, your parents, your wife and children are what I call victim souls. Good and evil are fighting it out through you. Your love for each other and your faith are the things that the devil wants to destroy most, because those are the only things that can destroy the devil. Don't lose your faith, Jack. It's keeping you alive.
Thank you, Father.
Months went by without a single incident. Every few days, the smell of roses returned. We could sleep again. And finally, we thought we had our house back.
ghosts are determined individuals, a haunting can also be a group decision. Witness the events that surrounded the recent demolition of an elementary school.
Well, my sons and I were the lucky guys who got the job of knocking down the school. Just another job, I thought. I was wrong. My name is Joe Torres.
Dad, we gotta get started.
I know. I'm just waiting for your brother and Leo to finish their inspection.
They went inside. We should be okay. Looks like everything.
What was that?
Sounds like kids.
What the hell are they doing here?
Didn't you have a childhood, Leo? Deserted buildings are great. You can hide and seek in them, or go treasure hunting, or even looking for dead bodies or ghosts.
Yeah, well, I had a childhood, but I knew a hell of a lot better than to hang out in a building that was about to be torn down.
I could have swore the noise was coming from in here.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was just in our heads. I'll go get Joe.
Somebody in here? Hey, kid, what are you doing in here?
Give me a break, Leo.
Look, Joe, I'm serious. Gabe heard it too.
What the hell is the matter with you?
Inside the classroom.
Huh?
There was writing. It was there.
Hey, you see, I told you.
Listen, I don't have time for this.
Joe, I'm telling you, there's something in there.
Fine. What do you want me to do? Call Ghostbusters? Come on, everybody. We're taking this mother down right now. Miguel, come on, crank it up. Let's get going.
I don't know what happened.
We'll try it again. Morris, get your butt onto that other piece. Come on, hurry up. All right, son.
I'll go make a phone call, get someone down here to take care of this. It's very much done.
I'm losing my shirt on this job.
What else can go wrong?
Hey, hey. The thing with the ladder drove off half my crew. And it wasn't over. In the afternoon, a lady named Elaine Ireland paid us a visit. She'd heard about the trouble we were having and thought she could help. She said she was a psychic. What can I tell you? I was skeptical.
Can you actually hear them?
Yes, they live here. This is their home.
Are they trying to scare us?
No. I hear laughing and singing. These are happy spirits. They were fed here, they were loved here, they were protected. This is their home. There's nothing but positive energy here.
So, what do they want?
Mr. Torres, it's obvious what they want. They don't want you here.
They don't want us here.
They want you to go.
To go?
Yes, to go. How would you like it if someone was destroying your home?
But lady, there's nothing we can do. We got a job, and we have to do it.
I know. I know, Mr. Torres. And I know you don't believe in the spirits. But they're here, and they intend to stay right here.
Maybe I should have listened. The next day, even more guys left. But what was I supposed to do? It was a job. And where I come from, you don't say no to work. Ghosts or no ghosts. I was ready to try anything. I even brought in a priest to perform an exorcism.
Oh, Heavenly Father, we ask you to have mercy upon these souls and allow them the rest that they seek within the sanctuary of your heavenly kingdom. Take them from our midst and grant them eternal peace. Amen.
Whatever the priest did, worked. I was ready to believe in miracles, if it was going to help me get the work done. By the afternoon, we were beginning to make back some.
Thanks, Leo. Mr. Torres, I got trouble. What's the matter with you, Otto? I told you Morris would help you demolish that wall. No, that ain't it, Mr. Torres. I mean, I can't go back out there. Otto, we still care of those ghost things. They're gone. No, I can't go back. I got a feeling if I do, something terrible's gonna happen. Yeah? Well, if you don't go back in, something even worse is gonna happen to you. You'll get fired. Now, please listen and try to understand. We are running behind. I need you. But Mr. Torres... Otto!
Wall just exploded. Poor guy. He did something better.
Still coming down, no matter what.
In spite of the accident, the job was soon finished. All that remains of Metz Elementary School is a vacant lot and many unanswered questions. After the job, Joe Torres dug up one of the trees from the school and planted it in his daughter's front yard. Several days later, his son-in-law called to say that he heard voices coming from the tree. They were the voices of children singing and laughing.
Well, I was never one to believe in ghosts or spirits, but since I got reports and my equipment went down and my superintendent's wife stopped and his pickup wouldn't run and walls falling the wrong way, and my son bringing it to my attention that they've heard and have felt and experienced some noises in there, and I began to think otherwise.
Well, these children demanded attention, and they certainly got it, these spirits. There are at least 20 new believers and people with new respect for the spirit world.
They're planning to build a new school there, of course, and I just wish them luck. I hope they don't go through the same experience that I did, and I just hope them to have better luck than I did.
I'd like to tell you a story about a guy named Sam Kinison, a one-time minister who became America's most drugged-out, raucous stand-up comic.
I was up to my knees in rice paddies with guns and Edwards going up against Charlie, slugging it out with him, while pussies like you were back here partying, putting headbands on, doing drugs, listening to the goddamn Beatle albums.
Just before the end of his life, Sam cleaned up his act and got married, only to die the night after his honeymoon at the hands of two drunken kids who ploughed into his car head-on. But the final moment of Sam's life was peaceful. According to the road manager who cradles Sam's head in his hands, the screaming preacher seemed to make peace with some higher being in the very second he passed from this earth. Mahid Khoury recalls the remarkable final moment of Sam Kinison's life.
And he stood up for a few seconds, a second, second and a half, and then his knees buckled and we just put him down on the ground. And he kept asking, how come now? I just don't understand it. Why? Why me? Why now? How come? He kept saying it over and over. And Carl, his other friend, was holding his head downwards, and I was on my knees holding him by the hand, cuddling him here and holding his right hand. But he was squeezing it very tightly and kept saying, I don't want to go. Why? How come? Why now?
From this moment, Sam Kinison seemed to be in touch with someone, tuned into the hereafter.
And I looked at Sam and he said, how come? And then he started saying, okay, 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 okay. That was it. He let loose of my arms. And he went down so nice and mellow, like there was no pain in his death. But he was talking to somebody, and it wasn't any of us.
Have you ever seen a ghost? Some shadowy form glimpsed out of the corner of your eye? A half-seen figure that disappears suddenly the moment you turn to face it? Here in Scotland, where I live, I've more than once had the uncanny feeling that, though I may be alone, someone or something is watching me. That I'm being visited by a ghost. But that is not unusual in Scotland. Scotland's past is as rich and dramatic as its landscape. Its great mountains and dark, secretive glens still echo with the battle cries of centuries ago. As well as Scotland's warlike traditions, there exists a strong belief in the powers of the supernatural. It is said that some Scots have the gift of foretelling the future, known as second sight. Each clan had a seer who was given to premonitions. But this gift of prophecy is more often a curse, for death and disaster constitute the commonest visions. All over Scotland, relics of an ancient past confound modern man with their strange images and sounds. Scotland's turbulent history seeps into the present day and creates powerful apparitions. And Scottish castles, where much of that history has been played out, are where a great many of these hauntings have been experienced. Their very stones echo with the struggles they have witnessed. It is in these strongholds that the ghosts of the victims linger on. Scottish castles were the sites of many bloody battles fought to preserve independence against the English. But within Scotland's own borders, thousands were slaughtered as a result of violent feuds between different Scottish clans. A haunted fortress stands on the west coast of Scotland, in the region of Argyll. This is Duntroon Castle, dominating the rocky headland overlooking the Sound of Jura. Built more than 800 years ago to guard the surrounding countryside against raiders from across the sea, Duntroon is the oldest continuously inhabited castle in Scotland. Now a peaceful home, it was once the scene of bitter clan fighting. To this day, Duntroon is haunted by the heroic deed of a lone piper who paid for his clan loyalty with a gruesome death. Mysterious music is often heard, the piper's desperate tune, carried on the wind across the misty waters. The sound of Scottish pipes has haunted the castle for many years, summoning memories of Duntroon's brutal past. Other paranormal events occur within the castle. Furniture moves of its own accord. Objects hurl themselves at walls. Clocks stop. And a gruesome discovery was unearthed beneath the castle flagstones. Duntroon Castle has been in the Malcolm family since 1792 and is today the property of Robin Malcolm of Poltalloch. It's long been said that the spirit of the Piper of Duntroon is still about the castle. Do you think he's here?
Yes, certainly we do. My wife and I never feel alone here.
On certain nights, the Malcolm's dog behaves strangely, as if it had seen and heard something.
I wish I could see what it is the dog's seen or felt. I haven't yet, but I hope one day I shall.
To understand the hauntings of Duntroon, we must return to its blood-stained past. Duntroon was owned by the powerful Campbell clan. During the 1600s, Scottish clans were fiercely individual, ferociously holding sway over their regions. At that time, as a result of a civil war raging across Britain, the Scots were divided,
The Campbells fought on the side of Parliament, while others, like their enemies the MacDonalds, supported the King, Charles I. Hearing that most of the Campbells were away from their castle at Duntroon, Colkitto, a MacDonald chieftain, took advantage of the situation and attacked the castle. As soon as the MacDonalds had taken Duntroon, Colkitto sailed away to continue his campaign. He left behind a small garrison and his loyal piper to guard the castle. Pipers held an important place within the Scottish clans. Well educated and travelled, they ranked highly in the chief's household. When going into battle, the piper stood forth alone, piping the men onward, their focus of loyalty. The Campbell clan were determined to regain their castle from the MacDonalds. In Colkitto's absence, they mounted a counterattack. Eventually, the Campbell clan recaptured Duntroon. Every MacDonald was put to the sword, except one, the MacDonald piper. As privileged individuals, pipers were protected. Colkitto's piper was spared. Imprisoned in the castle and surrounded by enemies, the piper knew that his master would return to Duntroon. At any time, Colkitto's boat could appear across the waters, bringing him back and heralding the MacDonald clan's return to the castle and almost certain death. As day dawned, the piper scanned the horizon for a glimpse of his master's boat, desperate to find a way of warning him. At last the piper saw a shape on the horizon and made out the MacDonald galley. He did the only thing he could to warn his master. He began to play his pipes. Across the waters, Colkitto heard the faint strains of the bagpipes. He thought he recognized a familiar tune and assumed it was a welcoming air from his piper. But as he sailed nearer, the notes suddenly changed. And he realized that this was instead an urgent warning saying to him, "Beware, turn back."
Bear away!
Colkitto turned his boat about, and the MacDonalds sailed away to safety. But for the piper there was no escape. for the Campbells had realized the message in the tune. A punishment was found to fit the crime. They cut off his hands so he could play no more. The piper bled to death from his wounds. Those who dismissed the story as a romantic myth were suddenly confronted with gruesome evidence. In about 1880, a chilling discovery was made beneath these flagstones. Repairs were being carried out here, and the stones were being replaced. Suddenly, one of the workmen gasped in horror.
Hey, John, look at this.
He called his workmate over. Staring up at them from its shallow grave was a human skull. When the surrounding slabs were lifted, a full skeleton was revealed. They saw quite clearly the skeleton had no hands. The workers and the castle lord stared in amazement. Surely the bones that lay before them were the mortal remains of the ghost that haunted the castle, the Piper of Duntroon.
We commend into thy hands, most merciful Father, the soul of this our brother departed.
The lord of the castle asked the bishop to give the skeleton a proper burial and to exorcise the spirit that roamed Duntroon.
With us. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God,
The bishop performed the rite of bell, book and candle.
and the fellowship of the Holy Ghost be with us all evermore. Amen.
But despite the exorcism, the piper's spirit still seems to dwell within the castle. But though he is nameless, his courageous act has immortalized him, the Piper of Duntroon. It is thought that some supernatural phenomena create changes in atmospheric pressure, alterations in the Earth's magnetic field, and that animals with their acute senses may more readily detect and react to a spirit force than man, who often experiences no more than a sense of unease. The lost soul the dogs seemed to notice. The haunting pipe music. Perhaps it is the piper returning to his post to pipe his lonely tune. Another Scottish castle has 3 fearsome hauntings. On the east side of Scotland, in the Grampian region north of Aberdeen, stands Fyvie Castle. The great facade has been likened to a French chateau, with its 5 impressive towers, each one a monument to the successive families who have owned the castle. Long before Fyvie's oldest surviving tower was built around 1400, the land was a royal hunting forest. It was from here that King Robert the Bruce dispensed justice. But the castle's baronial exterior hides a ghostly history. Sometimes the very stones and mortar of a building become the focus of supernatural power. Inanimate objects retain influences from the past. This seems to be the case at Fyvie Castle. Fyvie is steeped in mystery and strange tales. It is a castle with a disturbed soul, blighted by 3 different hauntings. A hidden chamber which causes blindness or death to those who disturb it. A centuries-old evil curse laid upon the castle, still felt by those who work there. And the ghost of a betrayed wife, the Green Lady, who walks Fyvie's long corridors to this day. The castle's remarkable supernatural events are so evident that they have even convinced an unbeliever. The curator of arms and armour at Fyvie is Major John Peyton. 3 years ago, he had an experience in the castle that altered his views on the supernatural. Do you find yourself laughing at the people who believe that Fyvie is full of spirits, ghosts, and curses?
Not at all. There was a time when
The Major explained that as an army man, he'd always been a great cynic who didn't believe in ghosts. But 2 experiences in Fyvie Castle affected him so much that he was forced to change his mind.
I tend not to treat it as a laughing matter anymore.
One wet January afternoon, as the Major entered Fyvie's drawing room, he stepped aside to let somebody pass. But when he looked, no one was there. Only a strong rose perfume was left hanging in the air. The Major searched for a logical explanation, but when he questioned the domestic staff, he discovered that no rose-scented products, no room sprays or polishes were used in the castle, and that at the time of the incident he had been entirely alone in this tower. Then a month later, another incident occurred.
Hello. What's been bothering you?
The Major was urgently summoned to calm down a tourist who was in great distress.
Right, looking in this mirror.
The visitor described to the Major how she'd been looking around a bedroom when she saw something in the mirror that scared her half to death. Through a haze of shimmering green appeared the figure of a woman in a long, full dress, ropes of pearls around her neck. Then, in the blinking of an eye, she was gone. The visitor was in a terrible state. She thought no one would believe her. But the Major told her she was wrong.
Oh, you're not going back.
He believed her.
You do? Yes, I do.
But who do you think it might be, this figure that you both experienced?
Oh, without any doubt in my mind, the Green Lady of Fyvie.
The Green Lady is thought to be the ghost of Dame Lilias Drummond. In the early 17th century, the owner of the castle was Alexander Seton, Lord Fyvie. He lived in the castle with his wife of many years, Dame Lilias. But Seton was dissatisfied with her. He was a dominating personality and singularly ambitious. They had 5 daughters, but not a son, the heir he longed for. Relations of Dame Lilias lived nearby. Among the family was a young girl, Griselle. Seton and Lilias had known her ever since she was a child, and now that she'd blossomed into a beautiful young woman, Seton fell passionately in love with her. Suddenly, Dame Lilias was reported unwell. Within months, she was dead. Whispered rumours about how Lilias had died echoed around the castle. They focused on a tiny room at the top of one of the castle towers.
My Lord Seton.
Seton, they said, had locked his wife up in this room. Anyone who attempted to release her was thrown out of a nearby window. Alone and half mad, Lilias starved to death. Only weeks after his wife's suspicious death, Seaton married the young Grisel. Because of his powerful position within the Scottish hierarchy, Seaton's actions were never questioned. Dame Lilias, however, would soon return to take her revenge on the new bride and groom. On their wedding night, Seaton and his new wife heard the sound of heavy sighs from outside the window. Seaton tried to calm Grisel's fears by telling her that it was only the sighing of the wind. He opened the window and looked out, but the night was still, and he could see nothing in the darkness.
There was nothing out the window.
Seaton again assured his young bride that there was no need to worry. But as the night wore on, the sounds coming from the window grew louder and more human, like the cries of a woman in great despair. In the morning light, Grisel cautiously approached the window. She saw that something had been carved on the window ledge. In letters nearly 3 inches high and inscribed from the outside were the words, T. Lilias Drummond. They remain here to this day. Dame Lilias had returned from the spirit world to exact her vengeance. The Green Lady is a startling apparition, but though her appearance is distressing, she rarely causes harm.
Mm-hmm.